Have you ever considered what your superpower is as an emerging leader? Do you know your strengths and your kryptonite? And just for fun, have you ever wondered how your passion, your gifts, and your presence might align with a superhero's origin story? Look, if that's you and you can identify with this, then today's episode was designed with you in mind. And I have the perfect guest who is going to coach us into identifying and fully, y'all heard me, fully operating from our superpowers. What's good, Elevation Nation, and welcome to the Elevate It podcast, where it stands for inner tugging, that divine pull guiding us in self-awareness, relationships, and spiritual unfolding through that inner work. I am your host, Christian F. Johnson. Now, if you're ready, then let's go. Listen, today's guest is someone who doesn't take transformation lightly, right? He doesn't just talk it, he embodies it. He is a TEDx speaker, a peak performance expert, and the creator of the HEROtype Assessment. I'm talking about this is a dynamic tool to help leaders and creatives everywhere, right? Everyday superheroes discover their unique superpowers and step into the fullness expression of who they were born to be. And with nearly 2 decades of experience in sales and leadership and personal development, this brother knows how to navigate, and he is known nationwide for his electrifying keynotes, real world wisdom, and his passion for helping the underestimated and overlooked finally see themselves as they are. From Brooklyn to boardrooms, this man turns lambs into lions daily. And listen, if Mel Robbins, if The Rock, had a high energy love child raised by Brene Brown and Kevin Hart, who grew up binge watching Michael Jackson videos and a bit of the 80s and pop culture, what would you get? Our special guest right here. So Elevation Nation, please help me welcome my good friend and my speaking coach, as I call him, Coach Cory Charles, to the Elevate It podcast. Let's put your emoji hands together as we bring him on.
Oh my gosh, listen, my friend, I've had some introductions and I've had some really good ones. That is by far the best introduction I've ever had. I need to take you on the road with me ASAP. Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.
Bro, listen, you already know. That's where we go. Let's go on tour. And I do hear that, and I pride myself on it. But I got to tell Elevation Nation, I am elated about this. This episode, who you are and just how we connected, is amazing. Elevation Nation, I'm telling you, this is not just one who I'm bringing on just because I think he has an amazing following, an amazing story, anything like that. I'm telling you, this is a brother who has accepted me and has been coaching me behind the scenes, taking me from here to there and just being transparent. I want to honor you publicly. Listen, Elevation Nation, if you would, get your pen and paper out. You need to tell somebody, I need to go ahead and listen to this episode, and you need to bring everybody, look, and share this one here, because I know that this is not just presentation. Y'all know this is presence, and we're about to go all the way in this episode. Brother, thank you. Thank you. And I know your schedule. Ain't nobody's business, but I know your schedule and what's going on right now. So thank you for showing up.
Listen, man, if I can make this happen, I'm going to make this happen, because it's an honor. Anytime I get to talk with you, anytime I get to spend time with a wonderful audience like you have on your hands. And let's just get into it, man. I love to have these dialogues that we have off the record. Let's put one on record, right?
I appreciate it, man. Look, you're operating like the HEROtype already, man. So look, listen, I went on the site and I said, you know what? I want to see about this assessment that you have. Because the whole superhero thing, I can identify to a degree, but nowhere near how you are truly operating in this world. And so I went on and I don't know if you want to say my HEROtype is a mentor.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to utilize this a little different. We're going to have some questions. I'm going to go from student to co-coaching to going back and forth. We're going to have some fun in this. But so I'm labeled as a mentor. And as soon as you heard that, you said, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, if I was looking at all the hero types, I would have guessed. I'm not always 100% right, but you do it for a while and you get pretty close to figuring out kind of where people land. I would have guessed mentor, so I'm not surprised by that at all. It actually makes me happy because that means it works, and it gets down to the root of who we really are, not who we want to be or who we're trying to be, but who we really are, which is the whole point of the hero type assessment. A lot of times we wear a mask all day long in profession and personal, but this gets down to the core of who we really are. When the rubber meets the road, when it's time to perform, who are you really? So the fact that you showed up as a mentor is totally in alignment with what I thought. I hope you agree, as we'll talk about it a little more.
Well, absolutely. So first off, what is a hero type? And why is, discovering your hero type such a powerful first step towards transformation?
So two things in one, right? So the reason why the hero type is so important, I always put things through my lens. So I spent many years going through professional life, and if I'm being honest, through personal life as well, not really knowing where I fit in and not really understanding what my role is, what is my purpose, where can I really excel and be the best me. I really had no idea what that was, because the way that I would show up when I showed up as me, I would get told other things or get kind of put in a box that didn't let me fully explore the meanness in this world. So the hero types helps you connect with who you really are, and who you're meant to be. And when we can connect with that on a deep level, we all know this feeling when you're able to show up authentically as yourself, that relief that we all have, that feeling. And sometimes we can't quantify or we can't articulate what it is, but that feeling, the best way I can give you an example is when you're with your closest friends and you're able to take down the wall and take the mask off and just be you. How do we get that person to show up every single day, professionally, personally? I look at it through a professional lens because that's what I do. But the cool thing is when that person shows up for the kids, the wife, the friends, the family. It shows up for all aspects of life. But we're talking about professional. When you get to show up as that person professionally, you really have no limits on what you can do because you're no longer in that box. So that's the real reason why I encourage everyone to, if it's not the hero type, I hope it is, but definitely understand who you truly are. And when we can understand who we are, that gives me the roadmap to paint the picture of, hey, what does the best version of Christian look like? And if I can figure out what that
Mm.
best version of me looks like, I may be a ways away from it, right? It may not be around the corner. I may need to put in some work to get there, but I gotta at least know what it is. And as a person that lived over the last 20 plus years not knowing what that was, it's really hard to follow directions when you don't know where they're leading. I gotta know where I'm trying to go. So
Ooh.
the hero type helps you paint the map, paint the picture of, hey, here's the best version of me. Now I got to do the work to get there.
I love it. 100% Elevation Nation. Listen, yes, I will drop the link. It will be in the area of the description so everybody can go ahead and get the assessment and perhaps, connect with Cory as well as his movement, right? His movement. We bring on people who have movements that are going on, and we might even get a little glimpse of this book that I know is going to be coming out, but, I might be
Amen.
going ahead of myself. But listen, right? So I find it interesting because this, when I think about a superhero, just to be real, like I think about, I don't like the multi-dimensional facet, because if I'm looking at, I don't know, Batman or Spider-Man, anybody else, like there's a part of that that's secret as to who they truly are and their identity, right? And so,
Yeah.
you're talking about the mask and taking it off. Like I'm just curious, like how that kind of works together, right? Because if one
Yeah.
can look at it and say, well, wait a minute, like who I truly am is behind the area of the mask. Like, can I be authentically Christian, the mentor, for the sake of this assessment, with a mask on and with a mask off, when I have to go and speak, when I have to coach, if I'm dealing with the kids? Like, is it something that goes everywhere, or is this just, talk to me a little bit.
Oh, my man. So that's the perfect question. Quite literally the perfect question. So yeah, you're right. Absolutely. When we think about superheroes, right, we think about the Batmans where he puts on the mask. We think about the Spider-Mans where he puts on the mask and they become that hero, right? That's your conventional idea of superheroes. I'm not trying to shatter that idea, but I like to put a little twist on it. I like to use the example of my guy down here, Superman, because Superman is the exception to that rule. Whereas you look at every other superhero, the alter ego is the mask. The alter ego is the costume they wear, right? Superman is the exception to that rule because Superman is Superman. He doesn't wear a mask. Superman is who he is. In fact, the alter ego is actually Clark Kent. That's the disguise he wears to blend in with us, right? Because he was born with those abilities, he was born with those skills. His cape is the blanket that he came here in. That is who he is. And that's why I use him as the example, because when I look at who we are as heroes, you're born with these abilities. You may not know what they are, you may not know how to tap into them, but you have them already. You don't need to put on a mask. You already have the abilities. So that's why I use him as the example, because it is the one unique person when it comes to superheroes that kind of stands in his own little realm where he doesn't need a mask. The mask, if anything, is to blend in. So the second piece of that is, if we understand those couple of things, if we understand that I have the abilities inside me, I am the hero, right? I've been wearing a mask already. It's not that I need to put on a mask. It's that I've already been wearing a mask and I need to take it off. If at anything, sometimes when I tell people, when we look at it through this lens, right, I understand the reality is the average person is going to wake up tomorrow and be Superman and jump off a building and fly into the sky, right? I understand that that's not how that works, right? So what we do is we craft this alter ego. The difference is the alter ego is not based off of fiction. The alter ego is based off of where I want to be, and sometimes I have to embody those characteristics until it becomes who I am naturally. Does it make sense?
Woo! Well, does it make sense? Man, you are a brother from another mother right now, man. Elevation Nation, you should be like, oh, that sounds familiar, right? Especially you already know Elevation Nation. You've read the book. You've seen his name, because not only has Cory read it, he's getting a review. He's in the area of the book. And it just hits me because truly this is what we're talking about, even in the newest book, the release. I literally am talking about the area of the mask messaging. That was me having the microphone and I'm speaking, I'm presenting, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I can identify with that. I can say, okay, well, I see this person is doing this. Well, I got similar gifts to that. For me, it's just transparent. I love the brother. He's amazing. There's no shade whatsoever. But that was my like ET the hip hop preacher type of thing. I was like, oh man, if he can do it and he's doing that, like he's doing this and this. But then I would disconnect because there's so much grind that I see from that perspective. Yeah. And then for me, I'm presence-based. It's authentically who I am, where I'm sensing the divine source, God, love, life, and beauty, and just coming from that area moving forward. But there's some similarities. But he did encourage me to say, look, if this is possible from my story, and if I can do this in your business, in your expression, you can as well. And that's why I love your assessment, because going through there, the mimicry, the mismessaging, the mask, you're helping us to align. And coming right off of there, this has been affirmation and confirmation even for me from there. So thank you for putting together a tool that is not, because we have a lot of tools out there and we read it and now we try to become that thing. When I look at your assessment, it's not something I'm trying to become. It's something that is reminding me who I already am.
That, I mean, spot on, because, as a person, again, I put everything through my lens, Christian. As a person that has tried to wear the costume of what I thought I should be, I've done that many times throughout life. This strips all that away, and it looks like, who are you really? And then again, we then can look at, who does that best version of you look like? A great practice that I went through when I first started this journey is I decided, okay, now I know who I am really at the core. What does this journey look like with no rules? And I literally just took all the rules, all the things that are acceptable, all the things that we're supposed to do, all the programs. I threw all of it out the window. I said, what does this journey, this life, my world, what does it look like with all that thrown out the window? And then I said, okay, ambitious, yes, but possible. Now, how do we get there? And then we started building the map from the back, building it from the destination backwards, which is a kind of a unique journey. And I think, to your point, we've all gone through our, I want to be ET moment. I certainly went through that as well, as, but it's not everyone's journey, because as you see with the hero assessment, everyone has different natural gifts. Now we can add certain things to us. Mentors my secondary, if that, connects us even more.
What's your primary?
My primary is Maverick, because I'm a little bit crazy. I do kind of what I want to do. So I got a little bit too much Maverick in me. But my secondary is Mentor, because at the end of the day, this is, I think, what sparked a lot of our connection is when you look at the mentor or the sage, as I sometimes call them, it's you want to be, and you aspire to be a guide to help others unlock their potential, and that's at the core of what I do. I know it's at the core of your messaging as well. It's all over your literature. It's all over your episodes. So that's the way I know we connect on a fundamental level. I just have a
Well,
little bit extra hot sauce on top.
so look, I hear somebody now saying, okay, Christian, I heard Maverick, I've heard mentor. Like, how many hero types are there? Because they're going to get their own. And I know for me, it just showed me the area of the mentor. I don't think I've seen all of them. But could you share with me at least, a little bit? You ain't got to give them all the sauce, right? They got to go and do the stuff. But what other hero types are there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to give like the quick 2-minute version, because we could spend a long time on this just alone, because it's so fascinating, right? So one of the hero types is the visionary, and this is the person that's the big thinker, the person that has all the great ideas, very inspirational. They always think towards the future, right? I'll just talk about kind of the strengths, and then if we want to dive into kryptonites, we can do that too, or go take the assessment. So that's the visionary. Tactician is the person that gets into the strategy. They're very efficient, very detail oriented. Certainly not me. You have the catalyst, which is the person that's very energetic. They take action. They're very motivational. The guardian is another hero type. This person's loyal, dependable, and they are your stabilizing force. Think Captain America in the Marvel comics, right? Then you have the achiever. This person is goal driven, high performing, relentless. This is your ET type, where it is grind, 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 make it happen no matter what. Empath is another one, very deeply caring person, intuitive, emotionally aware, very, very high EQ, I should say. Sorry. Then you have the analyzer, you have the influencer, you have me,
Oh,
the
okay.
maverick.
Okay. We giving them too much now. Okay. We giving them
Yeah,
too
we're
much.
rocking and rolling.
We giving them too much. Okay, y'all. Listen,
So
let's just put it this
there's
way.
12 hero types. There's 12 hero types in all. And I wanted to make sure that it covered a lot of different aspects of people, because some seem, some can have some overlap, and some can feel, it kind of feels like it's this one, but it's actually this one when we dive deeper. So I wanted to make sure that it had definitely enough legs on it, so people could really feel like they understand where they sit. And you said kind of the best compliment in the world, Christian. I want someone to take this assessment, part of it to be discovery of, oh, I didn't know that. And I want part of it to go, that feels right. Yeah, that's the feeling that I've been feeling that I couldn't put into words. That's the feeling that I want people to come away with.
Man, I love it. I really do. And I take these assessments. I mean, I just, I was excited. I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. But for me, it's a different place. Like I said before, I had no idea who I was. So I love that you're addressing all that. So you can Elevation Nation, if you're at that place, say, look, maybe I don't know, or I kind of know, like, I'm going to go take the HEROtype assessment because I want more clarity and confirmation and affirmation. Beautiful. If you're like, look, this is where I also met. And for me, you guys know my story. A lot of my speaking and writing, different things like that, have been just in the ministry aspect. So it's just been in the four walls of the local assembly of the church, different churches and different things like that. But with this, with what I feel like what God is doing in my heart, my mind now, it's nothing wrong with the four walls. It's just going kingdom minded, more beyond it. And so my articulation, my language, and all those things have been shifting, and realizing too that yes, I have the microphone, but the mic stand is a lot times where I'm at. And so I get to connect with other people with a microphone, other Corys, other people you see on this platform. And it hit me too to say, okay, for me, it was that character. So you guys know with me, the reason why the mentor thing hits me is it's like I can see a Cory and say, man, he's all over the world. He's doing this, he's doing that, he's doing that. But at the end of the day, like, who's really saying, so how's your marriage? How's your family? How's your character? How's all these things come into an alignment pertaining to that? Let me walk with you pertaining to that. He might be on the stage, but I might be in the area of in the green room. I might be cheering him on a side note, or after he gets outpouring. I'm not that person for him, right? Pretend I'm using as an example, but looking at that, that's what's needed, because everything, I don't know about you, but what I've been seeing in the world, it seems like a lot of high profile people, I'll just say, have been I don't even want to say exposed because I have any judgment. I don't know that what the real situation has been. I'll just say that their character has been challenged, and so it's been leaving me with the question to say the next ones that are in the limelight and there's their call, that's their purpose. Who's going to walk with them? The emerging leader, stand with them. Yes, they can produce. Yes, they can perform, but presence of truly who they are, letting them know that it's okay. So this helped to confirm and reaffirm what it is in my heart and my mind. So again, thank you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. And, if you understand who you are and who you're meant to be, then now you can filter all your decision making and all your actions through that lens. And when you're misaligned, and if I'm thinking I need to be a catalyst like an ET, and I'm filtering everything through that lens, it doesn't align with who I am at my core. So every time I'm making these decisions, it's a struggle. And it may be a tiny internal struggle. I may not feel it right off the bat, right? But you add that up over a couple days, a couple weeks, couple months, couple years, that struggle starts to add up and it starts to wear you down. That's where we lead to burnout. We could be in the right place, but filling the wrong role. And that leads to burnout just as easy as being in the wrong place. And that's the kind of silent killer that I don't think people are aware of. So if I know that I'm a mentor and that's where I need to be, all my decisions have to go through that filter of what does it mean to be a mentor? Again, I told you that's my secondary. My primary is a maverick. So my thought process is, okay, how can I help people find their fulfillment and their purpose? But how can I do it in a way that shakes the system? How can I do it in a way that is disruptive? That's the combination for me of maverick and mentor, right? And understanding how these pieces work together, and also understanding, hey, that's my counter hero type. So when I'm dealing with these people, how do we work together, right? How do I work with someone that has the opposite thinking as my hero type, or the opposite kryptonites as I have? It helps us really understand. And when we break it down, we really get to see the full view of what, our world looks like.
I love it. Let's go a little deeper with this mentor, since that's an example. Out of the
Yeah,
12,
absolutely.
y'all will get a little bit of the mentor in this aspect. So to my knowledge, right, that mentor is someone who, like you said, guides others to like unlock their potential. All right. So can you like break down and speak to um those who can identify, they're watching, they're saying, okay, I think that's a part of who I am right now, right? I think I can identify with that mentor aspect of somebody who guides others to unlock their potential. And I also want to know why you think me, what I need to know the inside of that too. So go ahead.
Well, the easy answer for you is just, I'm sitting here. I have this fantastic piece of literature here in front of me. Just knowing the things you write about, the things you talk about, everything out of your ecosystem screamed mentor, because it's just a different way of moving through this world. When you have that mentor first mentality, it's just different, right? So when you're a mentor, you are a teacher at heart. You are always willing to share wisdom. You always are looking to empower others. And your superpower, your true gift, is spotting potential and helping people rise to meet it, right? So you can see, hey, you're here, but in my vision, you're way up here. My job is to help you get there. And that's the role of a mentor, is being able to see that. It's not Michael Jordan, it's Phil Jackson, right? It's just as valuable, but for very different reasons. And it's being able to not only identify the best in people, but help them get there. I've been surrounded by very amazing mentors, which is the reason why I'm able to do the things that I do today, because people were able to look at me and say, you're not operating at your peak, you're not at your full potential, let's help you get there. And that's why I was able to, do the things and be where I am. So when you look at a mentor, there's a lot of strength that comes with that. There's wisdom, there's patience, there's a ton of empathy that comes naturally for the mentor type. You're always going to be looking for and seeing the best in people, and even when they don't see it. I give a good example. When I realized that I was on the wrong path, and I knew I had a little bit of mentor in me, even though I didn't know what it was at the time. I used to sell cars way back in the day, way back. And I had a good friend of mine, and we were the top two salespeople. We were rocking and rolling. And every time we would be number one, number two, but 10 months out of the year, he'd be number one. I'd get number two, maybe twice a month. And I didn't think he was better than me. I'm a competitive guy. I played sports. I knew the product. I knew how to deal with the customers. I'm a very nice person, but he would smoke me, 10 months out of the year, and I just couldn't figure it out. One day we're interacting and we're at the copy machine or whatever it is, and a new person strolls up and says, "Hey," talking to both of us, says, "Hey, I'm struggling with this customer. Here's their objection. I don't know what to do. Blah 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 blah." And my friend, with all love, not no shade, but he said, "Well, I don't really have time to deal with that right now," and kind of dismissed them. And I quickly jumped in and said, "Hey, here's what you should say." Boom, 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 boom. And I could see the look on the person's face, on the new person's face, and that look of, I don't think I can say that. And I instinctively said, "Do you want me to go with you?" And mind you, I'm not a manager, I'm not a trainer, I'm not a coach. I'm just another person. And I instinctively said, "Hey, I want to go help you." And went over and helped him. And in that moment, I realized that was the difference between me and my friend who was always number one. It's because I'd gladly give that 20, 30 minutes to help the new person versus rushing off to get my own thing, right? Which again is no shade. We all got
Right.
our things we got to do. But I realized quickly that that was the difference. That's why I was very rarely or I don't want to say never, but it was going to be very hard to pass that gap because I'd give my time freely. And then I realized I got a little bit of mentor in me. Again, I didn't know what mentor meant at the
Yeah,
time, but
yeah.
that was the first signs of, okay, there's a little bit something, I'm probably on the wrong path. I have a sales skill, but I should be helping others. That's where I need to be.
Let me jump in there because I want to speak to
Or,
even how ego can come into this. This is where, all right, I'm gonna come out of the student and go into the area coach for a second, okay? Because, and I'll just transparent, like my story. Okay, I understand the mentor, right? But and I forget what superhero you named me with, or we didn't do that yet. You did Phil Jackson. That's what you called me
yeah.
from the area of the coach, right? So here was my problem because I can speak, because I do have the microphone and I like to speak. Okay. there's this situation where, okay, I could see myself speaking to thousands upon thousands of people because of the gift set, so forth and so on, right? But ego kicks in and says, okay, well, if you do that, you can't do this and this and this and all this other stuff. Or you identify somebody who has a skill set that is really there, right? And now you're trying to, like you said, you could have looked at the brother and been like, look, you know what, you're number one, you're doing this, you're doing that. Listen, forget that. My isness, my heart, my inner tugging is caring for the people, but I want to go for this number one spot, or I want to go with what this appearance of success is for somebody else. And now you're going back and forth with there. And I think that's the thing that hit me. And I'll tell you, is one time where God really was dealing with my heart about this. And it was an example. Hopefully this pastor is not watching right now. Not gonna get in trouble. But it was one time where it was a larger church and we were in a situation and I was in the area of the audience and I've been walking with this pastor for some time, some most intimate, detailed things. And through formality, when in my culture, when you get up and you speak, a lot of times you address the other clergy that are there. Now, I am a licensed minister. I'm not a senior pastor. I assist, but it comes to those things. And so I realized that through formality, he called out everybody's name and didn't call mine. And I sat there offended in ego because I'm like, you don't call my name because I'm helping you, I'm coaching you, I'm doing this, I'm doing all that stuff. And God was dealing with my heart and really was like, do you really understand your role? Do you really understand your passion? Do you really understand that? And get that ego checked, because now I get to see, because I'm able to pour into somebody's life, I'm able to see that whatever their platform is, I'm connected to it. And it doesn't have to be my face. It doesn't have to be my name. You may have 10, 15, 20,000 this. I may only have 12, like disciples mentality to come from there, but the 12 can reach the whole world. I'm saying that, Elevation Nation,
Absolutely.
to say, be who you are. And even dealing with the things, I had to realize, according to the mentor, my kryptonite can be investing in others and neglecting myself. But another part I would say that kryptonite is the lust of other positions and other superheroes and other things that seem, watch this, more sexier than the mentor.
Yes.
I digress. I'll give you an alley-oop. Go ahead.
I mean, talk about an alley-oop, right? So I live this, and I say this because this revelation came to me gosh, embarrassingly, almost 20 years ago. It's not like this happened 6 months ago and I was just like, we're off to the races. No, this hit me almost 20 years ago, and I did two things incorrectly. Number one, I love that you talked about the ego. One of the things I always say is that your ego is not your amigo, because that thing can get you in trouble when you're not paying attention. But I did two paths. One path was, okay, my friend keeps beating me. Now I understand why. I just got to put in a little bit of extra work and figure out a way to beat him. So I put in more hours, I put in more time. I still gave generously, but I just worked harder. And I remember getting to the top of the mountain and it didn't feel any better. It's that temporary win of like, okay, cool, I did it, but I still don't feel fulfilled. Then I went to the other end of the spectrum and said, okay, I'm going to be the person that trains the absolute best salespeople. I'm going to train the sales monsters that come out of this business and come out of this building. And it was all about ego. I wanted people to know that I trained them. They came from my lineage. That's who you are working with. You're working with this guy, right? And it was all ego. And I realized that didn't fulfill me either, because you have those moments when it's all about ego, when you don't get the praise like you talked about, or you don't get the moment in the sun. It hits you. It hits you very hard. But when you give freely and it's all about the person and the outcome, you don't think about the praise or the accolades. You don't think about that stuff. So you don't put your ego at risk, because it was never part of the equation. It was all about the impact. And for me, that's the number one thing. I had, I talk about this often. I think I talked about it in my TED Talk. My grandmother came to me in a dream after she passed, and she told me that someone from your lineage will change the world. And that meant so many different things to me at the time that I heard it. And now I'm starting to finally understand what that means. I finally am starting to see that it may be one of my kids. It may be someone that I talk to. It may be someone that I train, and then they train, and then they train, and then someone else is trained. It could be so far down the line, I never meet the person, but there's going to be a huge impact. So I have to, without ego, show up every day, deliver as much as I can, and try to make sure that I'm making as much of an impact on this world as possible. And that's where the mentor side comes out of me. That's where you have a lot of that as well. I think yours is a little bit higher than mine,
Yeah.
but it's really important. And I think we talked about this last time we spoke. This is the thing. When I talk about understanding where I'm going and how to get there, this is one of the things that I keep as kind of one of my core tenets. Is I'm planting the seeds for a tree that I may never feel the shade of. And that's when I come to terms with that idea, it's easy after that. It's easy after that. It's all about planting the seeds. It's not about what happens on the other side of that. It's just about planting the seeds.
Listen, Elevation Nation, hear me when I say you gotta be with the right team. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. There's a passage that I like that says iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And I'm grateful for the sharpening that happens here, and then getting a glimpse of this. But you can read, you can go through the area of your assessment. And I want to talk a little bit about the assessment a little bit more, but I just felt that divine tug to let somebody know, if you don't have people in your ear that is able to speak life, but also speak truth and wrapped in love, and really share those things, share the pain, share the strength, but also say, you know what, we can't just stay here. This is how we're going to continue to elevate from our purpose, from our passion, from who we truly are. Like, that's who you want to be around. And you say, well, I don't know anybody physically like that. Then that's the books that you need to get, or that's the podcasts that you need to watch, or that's the people you follow on social media. The reason why I came off of, there's a number of reasons why I came off of a lot of the social media platforms. They're in the book, get it and read it, right? I think chapter 1 and 2, we talk about that. But for now, the reason why I remain off of a lot of them is because, Cory, there was a lot of drama and things that were going across the feeds that those cookies and those algorithms kept giving. So now I'm scrolling, and now my mind is going to different places. And here's what I really appreciate about LinkedIn, is because I see nothing but a lot of empowerment.
Yes.
Looking, and it's a different mindset to move forward. And so I'm encouraging somebody, don't only just know your hero type, but learn other people's hero type, not to lust after theirs, but just to understand who you're doing ministry or business with. because I'm now connected with a Cory, now I've realized, okay, I'm not in the sales in that way yet. I have a little aspect of different, but okay, I see, look, call my brother out, or I can learn. Maybe I do have the opportunity now, I can connect in that way. But still, we can talk and be at a place to say, you know what? Let's still keep each other grounded for who we are. Like being around people like that is going to help you once you stay in your greatness. That's what this is really about. So this hero type, this description, you're going to read it, you're going to go through it. But then there's another part. When you go from reading it, then you have to go from the area of embodying it. And I want to ask straight from the creator, like, how do we actually move from now I'm learning, I'm reading about the mentor, I'm reading about the maverick, I'm reading about these things, I connect with that, but where does this embodying this heroic identity, real life, where does that come in? What's one of the first things that I can go ahead and do?
Man, so God, you've come with some good questions today, my friend. But what I will say is the first part, it's the inner work, and I talk to so many people that have this idea, this vision, this goal, this dream, whatever you may call it, and they just want to run towards it. But I always caution, you got to do the work first, and you got to make sure that you understand your role in this story. And there's so many people that I talk to, and I think we all experience this. Most people that are walking, God's green earth don't envision themselves as the hero of the story, which is where this whole idea came from. I was having a one of those one-off conversations that you have with people, and we were going back and forth, and we just came to this idea of like, hey, if you really think about it, the heroes that you really are invested in, the ones that you care about, the ones that their stories, and the villains for that matter, they have similar stories, right? They have challenges, they have tragedy, they have all these things that happen in their past. It's just a difference of choice. The heroes make very different choices from the villains, right? So when I look at that, and I look at that God-given superpower of choice, that's the power that we all have. I don't care what your hero type is, you have the superpower of choice. No matter what your circumstances are, your background, your upbringing, it doesn't matter what situations you find yourself in, you have the power to make choices. Most of us don't utilize that power. So it always starts with doing the work and understanding your origin story and making a choice if that's going to be the story that you carry on into the future, or if you're going to rewrite that story. 99.9% of the population take their origin story and decide that that's going to be the story that they're taking with them. And my caution to you is you don't have to bring that with you. You can turn the page, as just as in your book, and I can rewrite that. Listen, those first 5 chapters, they happened. They weren't pretty. They were ugly. They were challenging. There were all kinds of things. But this is a new chapter. I can decide to continue that pattern, or I can rewrite it from today. So it always starts, when I talk about implementing your hero type, is understanding your origin, because that's going to inform why and how you make decisions that you do. And then make a choice. Make a choice that, hey, now I know where I should be naturally. I know where I want to be. Now I got to do the work to get there. And it takes those little steps. It's not waking up tomorrow and lifting a building. It's doing the work of understanding this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is where I'm at my natural best self. And when we can understand that, the rest is easy, because we get to, again, show up and run things through that filter of, hey, this fulfills me as a mentor, or this fulfills me as a maverick, and I'm going to be able to show up as my best because I'm sitting in my in my maverickness, right? Or my mentorness. I'm stealing some of your isms, right? But if I can show up
hey,
if I can show up in my mentorness, or my mentor ism, then I'm showing up as a best, at least a better version of me, and we're going to work to get to best.
100%. And I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. So I know you're in sales. All right. So we're going to go to a little bit of salesology, because
I love it.
because
my first baby.
Well, because we're looking at that. We're going now. Look, y'all, we're built in this Elevation Nation, and don't tune me out because you say I'm not in sales. Everybody is in a form of sales. I promise you, we are. Okay, everybody's in a form of sales. So stay with me with here. But we going from personal development to inner work, right? And now we come from the area of inner work, understanding our superpower. So, but in the area of sales, our organization, our business, our ministry, whatever the case may be, from souls to selling cars, it doesn't matter where you're at. looking at this, realizing this, there's a mindset. And this is one thing that I'll be honest with you, why I stood away or ran away, I didn't want to be in sales, okay? Because I didn't understand this part. And actually, you've helped me to understand this now, all right? So now I think I can actually speak to the crowd, because I felt like I don't like being sold to. I don't
Yes.
like being pressured into this. I mean, I want to get this car and you want to try to get, no. Connect with me, right? I want to have a relationship. I want to understand these things. I want to know that you care. I want to have all those things, right? I want to connect. So anyway, with that being said, like, what is the mindset shift for most people that they need to have to be more powerful and authentic in sales and in influence? Because I see you, and I haven't seen you in the realm of teaching in corporate yet, but who you are now is who you are off camera. So they can't, excuse my grammar, they can't not get the personal development through that area of sales. So talk to me about how we can be more powerful and authentic and caring in sales and in influence.
Well, I think first of all, thank you for that, and this speaks to what we are talking about, right? So if I show up authentically on camera, off camera, hanging out with the friends, going to the park, whatever, if I show up as that person consistently, then when people meet me, I hear this all the time, Christian. It's one of the best compliments. I meet people for the first time and they say, "I feel like I know you." Which is one of the best compliments, because I'm very open and I'm authentic as I can be when it comes to social. I want to make sure that I'm telling the real story. There's a lot of fakeness on social, and I try to give it, you know, dirty and ugly as it comes, and all the good stuff too, right? But man, when we really look at sales, and sales is my first love, right? And it's, I say that ironically because I was horrible my first year, maybe year and a half, some people might say, in sales. I was horrible because I was the same way. I had that aversion of, I don't like to be sold. I'm the one that, don't talk to me in the store. I don't want to be bothered. Don't feel like you're pressuring me. I didn't want that. So because that was my framework and that was my thinking, that's how I sold. I sold as if I don't want to bother you. I'm just almost like a fly on the wall if you need me. Now, anyone in sales will tell you, you'll get some sales with that, but it's not. It's we were one bad week away from, hey mom, right? We're always very close to that. And what I realized that when I take when I divorce myself from the outcome, and I remove myself from the idea of, I need to sell this thing. First for me it was homes, then it was cars at first, then it was real estate. When I remove myself from the idea of, I'm trying to sell Christian a home, I take that off the table. Forget about me selling you a home. The idea is, I'm trying to help you solve a problem. I'm helping you make decisions. And at the end of the day, if buying a home or if moving is the right choice for you, I'm going to help you navigate that decision making process. That's my role. Now, I do it with a lot of, product knowledge. I do that with a lot of information, and I do that as your guide. But at the end of the day, if you look at me and say, hey, listen, we've had a great dialogue, I just don't think this is the right time, chances are I'll agree with you and say, okay, no problem. Let's be friends. And when I took that pressure off of myself in the sales process of, I have to sell you a home, instead, I had to just really ask you great questions, understand who you are on a deeper level, not the surface stuff that you give, really understand who you are, what your motivations are, and how you are looking to improve your life. Because at the end of the day, someone looking to buy a car or a home or 90% of the other products out there is looking to improve their life. I need to understand why and how. And if I can get you there and we can have that dialogue, and it's not about what I sell. It's not even about how I sell. It's more about why you're buying. And if I can figure that out, then again, if you say no, not a big deal. I didn't put my ego on the line. If it's not the right fit, it's okay. I didn't come to this with the expectation that I have to sell everyone, which in my younger years, that was the expectation. But as I'd like to say as an enlightened adult, but as an older adult, I don't look at it the same way. It's not about, I have to sell you. It's about, I'm going to help you make some decisions. And at the end of this process, you're going to make one big decision, whether we're going to move forward or we're not. And whether we do or don't, I feel the same way. And
Wow.
that has been a game changer for me.
Well, you just changed the game for me, because even connecting this together, saying, okay, mentor, guiding people. So right now, I want to guide you through this decision-making process. Now, I can be on the other side of this. Yes, it may be my program, but maybe it's not. And so still I want to help as the mentor guide you through this decision-making process. And if I'm on the other side of this and this works for you, great. If it's not, then somebody else, and that's fine too. But still, what's best for you? That takes all the
Yeah.
sales out of that area. If I have the solution, then good. If I can make it happen, good. If it's not a part of who I am, then that's okay as well. And if not this, then something greater. And so I am grateful for that piece. Did y'all hear that, Elevation Nation? Did you write it down? So anything that you're with is, and listen, I've talked to millionaires, I've talked to all types of people, and it seems like the same thing I hear. Disconnect or detach from the result, operate from your passion, and all these things is going to be added, right? Seek ye
Yep.
first this domain that is of divineness and this kingdom mindset, and then all these other things are going to be added. So the finances, the engagement, all the other stuff is going to come and happen as a byproduct of you operating truly from you, who you are, in your authentic voice. I love it. I love it. I love it. I could really talk to you all day, and we do go back and forth on this. So, but I'm not going to take too much of your time, brother. But I want to say this before we wrap it up. Where can listeners find you online, and how can they connect deeper with you and your work?
Well, two things, if you don't mind. I want to throw in something to that earlier point because sometimes you have these little sparks, and I just want to make sure that everyone knows, because I know that there are people that are listening. They're going to say, "Well, I'm not in sales. I don't sell a product or service." And again, you said it earlier. I've said it as well. We're all in sales, whether I'm selling a product or an idea or anything else. You and I are having a dialogue, and I'm selling my ideas, and you're selling your ideas. It's all a sales conversation. And if I can understand that at its core, that puts me in a good position. But when I'm, now in my new role, I don't sell products, I don't sell cars or houses, but I sell transformation. And I know that if I can get a sales leader, whether you're upcoming sales leader, whether you're a sales leader that's been doing it forever, or you're someone that's aspiring to be a sales leader. I know if I get a sales team or a leadership team or any team you can imagine, if I get them in a room, they will be transformed. So the sale that I'm making is transformation. And if I understand that, I feel really strongly about that outcome, then it doesn't feel like I'm selling you a product. I'm selling you the transformation. It's not going to work for everyone, and I'm okay with that. But I feel really strong. I'll be the first to admit, I was very bad Christian about selling products I didn't believe in. If it was a junker car, I was not good at selling it. If it wasn't the right fit or the right solution, I was never good at selling it. But if I feel really strong about what I think this could do for you, I'm going to give you everything I got, because it's not from a sales place. It's from I want to help you improve your life place, right? So sorry, I just had to go back to that because that sparked in my brain. But on the socials, you can find me everywhere. I'm a madman on the on the content side. Obviously, I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. I agree, it is a place of positivity and growth, and I just love that space. Of course, I'm on. Well, first of all, LinkedIn, Cory Charles, right? I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. On the other socials, you can find me at I am King Charles. I live in all those other spaces, but I definitely spend most of my time on LinkedIn.
I love it. I love it. And so rumor is that there will be a book coming out. Is that true? Like, when can we expect it? Can we get on a waiting list so that I mean, what you got for me?
Well, the rumors are true. The Hero Factor book will be coming soon. It is getting dangerously close to being something that is that's special. And I've poured everything into it, and I just want to make it everything that it is in my head, because I really think it can change some lives. Because going through this methodology has changed the way that I function and the way that I think. And I talk about these things with my boys, even though they're 11, 9, 11, sorry, 10 last week, 11, 10, and 1.5. They have some of these conversations too, because it's never too early to start having these conversations. And yeah, I'm really passionate about it. I hope to get it out soon. I'm going to partner with you, my friend, because you make these things happen quickly. So yeah, I'm
100%.
excited about that. The Hero Factor. So keep your eyes peeled for that. You'll see a lot of content coming out, Hero Factor branded, and it's all going to be part of that same methodology.
I love it. I love it. Elevation Nation, you love it too. You can put that in the comment section. Hold him accountable, y'all. Let's go. If he can be putting some content
Yes.
out there at the end of it, say, where's the book at? Okay, we got to get that book done. And so
See, that's the
Elevation Nation,
maverick in me. I need a little kick every once in a while.
hey, absolutely. And I will walk you through that process. I am elated about this project and when it comes out. So please make sure that you're following Coach Cory on all of the socials and whatever one that that you resonate with. But I would advise you really to check him out on LinkedIn. It's just some power that is taking place there to yes, I'm not going to get it all that. Just do it. Trust me on that and go back, replay this episode again. There's so much here. There's so much content that is there, and anything he just releases, it just has favor, it has power, it has so much just wisdom on it. So even his posts are tangible. You can sense that stuff. So listen, y'all, follow my brother. All right. One last thing I love to ask all of our guests, if you would leave us with one word of encouragement that we can carry out with us through the rest of this week, what would that be?
Yeah, we kind of touched on it earlier, and I always like to hammer this home because it's kind of the basis for my thinking, and it is, listen, obviously understanding where you come from and understanding your background is important, but we all make choices and we can choose to live the life that we want to. And if we're going to rewrite our story, let's write a dang good one, right? Let's write a story that we'd be really proud to tell versus the one that we've always been telling. And, just to give you a peek behind the curtain, if you can, as an individual, align your beliefs, your thoughts, and your actions, you're really tough to beat. Thoughts, beliefs, actions, if they are all in alignment, you're really tough an individual to beat.
I love it. I love it. Come on, y'all. All right, write that down. Let's apply that. Coach Cory, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your journey, your voice, and your transformational work with Elevation Nation. And to you, our family of listeners, thank you so much for continuing to grow with us. If you haven't already subscribed, you have that opportunity right now to hit that button and go ahead and share this episode with somebody else. Make sure that you are staying in the flow. Go take Coach Cory's HEROtype Assessment today. The link will be in the area of the descriptions. Make sure that you're connected to the Inner Elevation Weekly newsletter that's on LinkedIn. And don't forget to grab your copy of When You're Speaking, But Still Silent, which is also on Amazon. All right. So may good, great, and awesomeness continue to flow to you and through you all week long. Blessings. And we will see you next week. All right.